Hi, coaches. Mike Kuchar, www.xandolabs.com. Special thanks goes out to Chris Ash, now the defensive coordinator at University of Arkansas, formerly at the University of Wisconsin last year, who's sharing with us his open field tackle drills that he does with his defensive backs pretty much on a daily or every other day basis, depending on where he is during the course of the season. I'm going to show you a couple clips here. These are just 2 of the 15 tackle circuits and tackle stations that he uses with his defensive backs and linebackers, okay, to teach open field tackle. We all know how difficult it is, especially this day and age, to tackle in space with what offenses are doing. As a defensive coordinator at the high school level myself, I find this always a challenge to coach my players up on how to tackle in space. One of the things that I liked about what Coach Ash did is that he brought in these broomsticks. And this is something when I visited Coach Ash a couple springs ago, this is something that he did with his defensive backs. And I thought it was such a great technique because as you see during the course of this video right here, it teaches them to move their feet. So many players tend to lunge in the open field. They try to lead with their head or lead with their eyes instead of rolling, bulling their neck, keeping their eyes high and leading with their feet. Now what he's doing here is something called a shimmy. Now some coaches are going to this technique. I know that the phrase breakdown is rarely ever used. This is more of a shimmy where players are sprinting and they're shimmying and they're moving from toe to heel, okay, but continually moving forward, okay, to keep their body in line, making sure their feet are in front of their eyes and they're coming to balance. And that's something that I think is such an important fundamental, such an important technique to teach, especially young high school players and even college players as they get older. They watch the NFL guys, they're running full speed, they're making big collisions, okay, but they may not always be tremendous tacklers. And this is a great technique I think you could do with your players on a daily basis or every other day. I know myself, I do this very frequently. If we don't have broomsticks, we use yardsticks, okay, or something just to train their eyes so they understand that the concept of using their feet and keeping their eyes in front of them. And now what they're doing is they're mirror stepping the offense. So after a couple reps through this, now they're sprinting, okay, and they're shimmying, and now they're watching the offensive ball carrier who these players are simulating, and they're moving their feet based on where they step. Okay, so now if he steps left, now it's a shimmy to his right. If he steps right, it's a shimmy to his left. Again, keeping the balance, keeping the chest over knees, knees over feet, keeping their eyes up and shimmying their feet down, coming to balance. And I really think that you have to train defensive players' feet before you train their contact phase. And this is the first part of it. This next drill is what Coach Ash called a box tackle. Okay, it's an inside-out tackle. Some of you may have seen this before. I like the variation of what Coach Ash does here. Okay, because what he does now, it's an inside-out tackle. So now what these players are trained to do as defensive players are almost eye the backside hip. How many times have you seen your players over-pursue, especially during a sideline cut or when players running down the sideline? How many of them over-pursue, okay, and this player cuts back on them? Happens all the time. I see it all the time at my level. This is just an opportunity, okay, to teach them chewing the backside hip, as we call it, or leveraging the backside hip. Great drill. Okay, you can't allow players to cut back and making sure that their eye focus is correct. And that's exactly what Coach Ash is telling these players here. So there it is. Okay, it's a shuffle. Again, the emphasis is on moving their feet, shuffling, leading with their feet, shimmying down. Okay, putting their feet in position to make tackles. And you'll see a different angle here. Same drill. See how that player does a pretty good job staying inside out on it. Another good job staying inside out. So they're watching that hip. In case of cutback, they're inside out on that hip. Now this is the box tackle or the outside in variety. So this is a little different. Now what they're doing is they're training these players to be force players, okay, in the run game. They're not necessarily looking at the backside hip for cutback. Okay, they're getting downhill. Okay, and they're working to get their head across. So as this drill is set up, similar to the box inside out, it's just a different angle. But the whole purpose of the drill is that you're training these players the right focal points, okay, the right visual points on a tackle. So much of tackling is the eyes and the feet, not so much the strike. And I think that's important when you teach drills like this, as Coach Ash is showing us here. Good job by that player getting his head across, button up. Comes to the shimmy, and that's something you really have to teach your players to do, be able to come to the shimmy, Okay, there's a shimmy right there. Okay, and butt up. So these are only about 3 drills that Coach Ash does with his players. Now Coach Ash is the defensive coordinator at the University of Arkansas. He was formerly the defensive coordinator at the University of Wisconsin. You could get all 15 of these open field tackle drills, okay, that access all of them that Coach Ash uses by signing into our insider membership program on the website at www.xandolabs.com. And there's plenty of other drill videos on there that you could access and implement right away in your season, okay, especially defensive line drills from Kansas State, linebacker drills from University of Michigan and the University of Kentucky, Iowa State defensive back drills. It's all there on the website, coaches. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what you can be using to implement into your program daily to get your players to be better tacklers in space. Coaches, I appreciate your attention. This is Mike Kuchar at www.xandolabs.com.